I'm going to show you how I get around the country, to and fro, and back again. Let's take a walk down here. Once the record was finished being recorded, even as it was being mixed, we had scheduled more dates to go play shows. This is the Ram 3500. Considerable improvements from the 3200. First time I toured was in a minivan, and then we started renting vans. And we got pretty far along before we had actually purchased our own van. Would we like a bus? Absolutely. But I think it's pretty indicative of sort of where we're at. And there's only 3 people. So it's nice. It's our little home away from home. The real groundwork was done by myself and David LaBriere playing bass and Scotty Crow, who kind of became another band member who didn't play, who was driving. And we went around the 3 of us went around the country. You know, we went around the country in this van. We would play these shows, just me and David acoustic. Being in the van, you're forced to take off the surface of like being a musician. You're not a musician when you're in the van. You're a guy whose hair is all a mess, who hasn't taken a shower in 2 days, and you're with your boys. See this? You see this? And then you see this? Mm-hmm. You know why these socks match?
Why is that?
Because they're both clean.
You know what's funny about being on the road? All the different and progressively stranger names for the local stores of like a large chain gas station. Oh, I'm going to Scotchman to pick up some milk.
Little Dan's, see? Little Dan's. Oh, we're just going to Little Dan's. We did some foolish stuff. Who thinks it's a smart thing to travel hundreds of miles a day but yet have drinking contests in the van? Who can drink the most water? I'm not a drinking man, but I love myself the water, and I feel like I'm getting really good at chugging water. I can knock this thing back in no time. I did 1.5 liters the other night. You're taking a whole day off to drive hundreds of miles, and you're making 6 stops an hour, and continue to chug water for fun.
Water.
We would go to the mall a lot. We used to rate malls. We went to the mall all the time. I'll tell you where the best malls in the country are. And one of the stores I stopped off on, I bought this Simpsons character, Ralph Wiggum decal that went inside the van. And I used to just watch the road go by through the window and line up the ground with the waistline of the Ralph Wiggum decal. When you get that bored, you start to try to give him land pants. It's very micro-amusing when you're in a van. When you're in a bus, the person who's driving gets paid to drive, and that's their job. And there's no underlying sort of guilt that I haven't driven in this much time or that much time. And you see the road go by, which is something that when you're on a bus, you don't get a chance to do. Your head is literally against the glass, and you see the signs come by. How many more miles? I mean, you see the truck stops, the fruit stands, you see the mountains, you see weather patterns happening miles and miles away. Looking back on it now, you go, well, how did you do that? How did you sleep in a van? That was it for me. I mean, that was the height. And I think if the more you can just ride the top of that wave, there's no relativity at the time. There's no like, oh, I wish we were in a bus. It was, I'm glad I'm not in a minivan.
I like the idea of beginning someplace that's pretty scaled back so that you can open up from there. So I made a record that is very much like a mixtape of different things that it's like the sampler CD for the rest of my career. So I think I wish I could make records faster, you know.
It's almost like taking pictures on a camera with no film in it before you have a record. You're making little statements for that night and that night alone, and it dissipates and it goes away. And then you put a record out, and all of a sudden you're representing something. Now you have an almost kind of biblical reference to the way your song should be. And that was amazing to go on the road in support of a record.